Kechi, we are so excited. It is a privilege to have you here. We're excited to hear your story. So thanks for coming out and joining us.
Thank you.
Well, we are going to get started with just kind of a lightning round. I'm going to ask you a bunch of quick questions, and we'll just get to know you a little bit that way. Let's start with this. Let's start with where you're from, where you grew up, and where you're living now.
I grew up in Nigeria, and now I live with my family in Houston.
Okay. And if we were hanging out with you on a normal day and a song came on the radio, what is the most likely band or artist that you would start singing along with?
If it's like regular radio, probably Ed Sheeran. For Christian Contemporary, probably Elevation Worship.
Yeah.
I pretty much know all their songs.
Yeah. Just hanging out the last, today and yesterday, I've already caught Kechi singing along to different things just here and there. I have a feeling you're kind of always singing along to things. It's pretty cool. All right, America's Got Talent. Who's your favorite judge?
Definitely Howie. Yeah, he was the most approachable, very sweet, very nice. I saw him the most backstage, off camera. Mel B was kind of the star for me, because I grew up, seeing her on TV, watching Spice Girls, their movie Spice World, so, that was like a star. I was just starstruck when I saw her the first time. But yeah, definitely Howie. Howie was definitely my favorite, I would say. Yeah.
Tell us the truth. What is Simon really like?
He is intimidating. He is, he, especially if you're a singer, if you're, someone that's like an artist, you can't help but, want to hear his feedback because he kind of always seems to know what he's saying, and so it's kind of scary. You wonder if you're going to impress him or if he's going to just be like, you're okay, or if he's going to, go all, just really scarily frank on you. So it was really an honor and just so relieving when he seemed to warm up to me, from the get-go, and I was just really grateful for that because it can get rough.
Yeah. You watching this season?
Yes, I am.
Anybody that you're excited about?
I'm excited about Flo J. She was the young teenage rapper, and then the I can't remember her name, but she had the golden buzzer in the last episode I watched, and she was really shy. And then when she started singing, she was just amazing and like a whole different person.
The girl who's 12, but she sounds like Janis Joplin?
Yep, that's her.
Yeah.
I think the judges even said that,
Yeah.
and she was amazing. So I can't wait to see how far she gets.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's dig into your story here. Let's start at the beginning. Tell us about growing up. Tell us a little bit about your family.
Growing up was really wonderful. I grew up in Nigeria, and I had the most amazing parents, the most amazing family. I grew up in a very kind of, looking back, probably very wholesome kind of way, always with family, with my cousins. And for a while, I was an only child. My little sister was born when I was 11, which was thrilling because, I got to be an older sister, and, the age difference was quite large. So I kind of became like her pseudo-mom as well. And I just loved, growing up with her and helping her grow up. And my parents just did a really great job trying to, provide as much as they could for us, and give us just a really wonderful, childlike childhood.
Yeah. What was your kind of religious background, your relationship with God like in those early years?
Well, I was born into a Christian household and into my mom's family especially, very Christian. But for me, growing up, I was kind of just whatever my mom was. It wasn't anything personal until much later in my life. For the most part, I just did whatever she did, went wherever she went. And a lot of times, when we had things like family fellowship, it was really just a time for us cousins to hang out and be together. So, but I was exposed a lot to who God is and what Jesus did for us, but it was really more of a surface thing for a while until later.
Yeah. I have a feeling there are lots of people who might even be here today who would say, my family had some religious background growing up, but it's never really been something I've personally owned. Mm-hmm. And if you're here and that's you, we're really glad that you're here. That's one of the things we love to do as a church, is be part of people's journeys to come and really own a relationship with God personally for themselves. Well, let's talk about the plane crash. Mm-hmm. What do you remember from that day?
So this was December 10th, 2005. It was a very normal day. Usually I went to a boarding school for high school, and so we lived really far away from home, a plane ride away. So usually students would, who lived in the same area would board the same plane to get home. So there were about 61 of us who lived in the eastern part of Nigeria, which is where the plane was headed the day the accident happened. And everything was really normal about the flight from the get-go. There was no indication of what was going to happen or anything until about like 15, 20 minutes to landing, when the pilot makes the announcement that we would be landing soon. And that was kind of when the turbulence got really exaggerated and it just turned out that you just kind of figure something's wrong and it's not normal. And I remember, as chaos was just happening around the entire cabin, and people, who were like probably, because I was in an aisle seat, people like by the window could probably see what was going on, and I'm thankful I couldn't see that, at least. But I remember just feeling like it was kind of like an out of body, looking down at what was going on kind of experience, because it was kind of hard to really grasp that this was reality. You never imagine that kind of thing is going to happen to you. No one ever thinks that when they board a plane. So it was very I was full of just kind of like awe at what was going on. And then my last memory is holding onto my friend's hand in the aisle seat next to mine. And she was like, what do we do? And I was like, maybe we should pray. And just saying the words, the first thing I thought in my head. And then the last thing I remember feeling was this loud metal scraping sound in my head. And then I must have blacked out at that point, because I remember waking up in South Africa the next time I opened my eyes. That's where I was.
That was 5 weeks later?
That was 5 weeks after, yep.
Wow. And how many people were on the plane?
There were 109 of us, and 107 passed away. There were 2 survivors.
Wow. And so when you woke up in South Africa, what did they tell you? What did you know?
So interestingly, I woke up with full awareness of where I was and what had happened. And that was because while I was in the hospital-induced coma, my mom, I would hear her voice, like repetitively telling me what had happened and where I was. So I could kind of hear her in my subconscious. I would hear her telling me that, I was in the plane crash, I was in an accident, but I'm going to be okay. Now I'm in South Africa, in Johannesburg, and I'm going to be okay. They're going to take care of me. She's not going to leave, and she'll be there when I wake up. And I could also hear, music playing, too. I would hear my mom's voice when she's singing. I would hear, music, just songs that I have never heard before, just playing in the background. So when I woke up, it turned out that, she had called my cousins and my sister to ask what artists I like, and then she would play it by my bedside, so that it was just always there, because that's how much music meant to me, and she knew that. And so that was really cool, because I remember I woke up knowing songs that I didn't know before the accidents.
Yeah.
One that stuck out to me the most was the one that she used to sing to me almost as much as she used to talk to me, and it was just this really lovely hymn that she had learned from her mom. And I didn't know it before the accident, but wow. I woke up knowing the whole thing.
So you woke up knowing it. That is amazing. Would you be willing to sing that hymn for us?
Sure.
Okay.
Wonderful and marvelous is Jesus to me, sweeter than the honey in the honeycomb is he. Jesus is real, he will never fail. I will praise him now and throughout all eternity. I will praise him now and throughout all eternity.
Wow. I've read a little bit about your recovery process, and it sounded really intense. What was involved in that?
It was really a lot of just skin grafts, covering me up. I had third-degree burns over 65% of my body. So basically head to foot. The only part that didn't burn was my torso, and the areas that that didn't burn, they excavated for skin that they could use to cover up the areas that did burn. So that was pretty much my next 7 months in the in South Africa. I was in the IC for 4, in the ward for 3. And they just covered me up. They patched me up. That was pretty much what it was in SA. And they, did everything they could to just keep me alive and keep me on this side of the world, yeah. And that was the physical, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. I had, therapists that would come in and talk to me, and, I had my mom and my family who would, always pray and minister to me and stuff like that. So it was, really, like you said, intense in every way, very painful. And then the itching came later on and just made things way worse and made me wish for just more pain rather than the itching. It was that bad for me. But altogether, it was just a really, really trying time for sure.
Yeah. And there was a turning point that came, especially in kind of your spiritual life, that came with a conversation with your grandmother.
Yeah,
Can you tell us about that?
So this was maybe 2 months into my treatment, I want to say. So as the scars were healing, the itching came, and it was just the worst. I mean, I had the worst. I was like at the worst end of the spectrum, the extreme, and I could not stand it. I was just going nuts because of it, and it would just keep me up all night. I wouldn't be able to sleep, and there was this particular time frame when I hadn't slept for like 3 days, and I was just going crazy. And my mom, everyone, they did everything they could. The medication they give, there's only so much they can give you, before it starts, causing problems. So I would just lie there, crying because of what was going on. And my mom called my grandma. She did this a lot, and she put my grandma on the phone, and she talked to me. And so my grandma was like, that Kechi, that I know you're frustrated. I know that you can't sleep and you're angry and you're just you're done, but that I need you to do something for me. I need you to just take a few deep breaths and just talk to God. And to me at that point I was just like, yeah, I mean that's great, but how is that gonna help my physical issues right now? This is something that is a real physical problem. How is that really gonna do anything? And she was like that. I need to stop thinking about him as this faraway figure in the skies that is just so removed from our experiences. And, sometimes might be listening to us, you never know, it's not like that, that he is your father, like your actual dad here, and that's how you need to start seeing him. He's right next to you. So you just talk to him like you would talk to your dad if he was here. Just pour out everything to him and just give it a try, see what happens. And so I didn't have anything else I could do, So this was like last straw, cool. Okay, so I started talking, and then the more I talked, and I just started purging everything inside me out, just crying out, and just crying out to him, and just saying everything on my mind that was frustrating me. And next thing I remember, I was opening my eyes the next morning. I don't even know when I fell asleep. Like, that was just mind-blowing to me. Like, so I just needed to just talk. Like, that's kind of crazy.
That's simple.
I haven't been able to sleep for the last 3 days, and I just talked to this God, I just talked to Jesus, and I'm waking up. So that just kind of, made me very curious about more things about him. Maybe there's something here that there is to explore that I just never thought about before. Yeah. And that was the real turning point for me in, my faith, because I started to actually personally get curious about him, not just what people were telling me.
Yeah. Did you ever ask the question, well, why did this happen to me and to these other people?
In the beginning, definitely after, I never asked about, strangely enough, not really I was fine so far. I never really asked why with regard to like the things that that happened to me. But after I heard about what really happened in the accident, how there were only 2 survivors, and how every other kid, including all my friends from, school, had passed away. Like, that just kind of broke me down. This was about 4-5 months into my treatment when they told me the truth. Because before that, I had thought that everyone survived. I thought everyone was alive, maybe as bad as I was, but at least alive. So it was just a shock to me that all those people were gone, and I could not understand. I just couldn't understand how they could just be gone and never seen them again. It just didn't make any sense to me. So I sunk into this dark pit of just depression, and I just kept on wondering, how this could happen to so many children. I couldn't imagine what their parents were feeling if I was feeling this way. And grandma to the rescue again, because my mom, when she's at her wits, she, reaches out to her mom, and my grandma is just like this wealth of wisdom, and so she called her, and then she talks to me again, and then she was like, the truth is that there's never really a why. No one knows when things like this happen. No one knows why they happen, because there's just no why. It's just what happens. It's just life, and it sucks, but there's no why.
Yeah.
And that really struck me, because it's so true. When you ask why, you're looking for reasons for why something happens, but what reason would really, justify what happened? What reason would I get that would tell me, oh yeah, okay, so all those people died because of this, that makes sense. It's never gonna happen. So, why ask why? So, from that moment, I kind of felt like, it would probably be better for me and for everyone around me who cared about me to, look at things a different way about this tragedy. I could either sink and stay in depression, and that would just be the extent of what I do with the life that was saved, or I could draw strength from the memories of my friends that had passed away. I could instead use their passing, their memories as my reason for doing the things that I do, for wanting to make their memories proud, for wanting to make their parents proud, and do something good and show some good, with this life that was saved. I wanted their parents to feel something positive from this huge tragedy that had happened. So that was kind of the angle that I kind of spun for myself to, pick myself up and help myself, get out of that pit, climb out. It's a very slow process, but every day you take a step out, every day you try to move forward, and that's pretty much how I've just tried to do everything since that moment up until right now.
Yeah. How do you keep trusting God when you don't know the reasons why things happen?
Honestly, it's kind of like if you don't do this, then what are you going to do? Because for me, Jesus became a place of peace for me. On the flip side, if I didn't have him, if I didn't have what he represented for me in my life, then I would be the extent of my strength. And so when I'm weak and I feel like I want to give up and I just feel like I'm done, then that's me at the end of my rope. And then what's out there? There's nothing out there. It's just darkness and bleakness. But that's not how it should be. If that's how I always felt every time I felt depressed, then how would I come out of it? If I feel like after my strength is gone, then I have nothing else to rely on. No, I wanted instead to believe that, where my strength ends, that's where Jesus comes in. That's where, he just, swoops in and, takes over, and he has infinite strength. He has everything that, I have, but I'm very limited, So I need to know that, there is this amazing being out there who, can do more, way more than I can do. So that's what Jesus became for me. He became that source of infinite strength whenever my strength fails. And it's very helpful to have someone like that looking out for you, because a lot of times, we're human beings. We always will fall. But, I wouldn't be able to pick myself back up if I didn't believe that, he was always going to be there to, help me and, move on from whatever I'm going through. Yeah. So that's how, he kind of had to stay that way for me. That's what Jesus had to represent for me, and I'm just really grateful for that. It was really my support system that helped me, like, kind of make me feel this way and believe these things, really.
Yeah.
So I have them to thank for, I guess, my outlook
Yeah.
on life. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. You have meeting your mother and hearing about your family. You just have incredible people around you. It's really, really amazing. There was something else that happened kind of as a result and kind of in the wake of this accident, a surprising thing.
Yeah.
Your voice actually changed?
That's true. That was kind of very strange. And when I say we, I mean myself and my mom, we didn't quite understand how that happened. Before the accident, I used to sing a lot. I've always been someone who's always singing all over the house. I'm that person. And I grew up, as a teenager, my voice got better, but it wasn't, what it is now. It was okay, it was just, okay, it was fine. But after the accident happened, I remember the first time that I tried to sing along to one of the songs that was playing on the DVD player thing by my bed. It was a Kelly Clarkson song. And I remember I just started singing along to the words, and my voice just came out sounding not what I remembered it to sound like. And my mom looked at me like, what was that? And I was like, it sounds different. She was like, yes, it does sound different. And so we're just like, okay, that's cool. And so I just kind of ran with it and just took it like this blessing, this, because, I heard that, when you go through, people that, go through burns, usually what happens is that because of smoke inhalation, your lungs, get really damaged or, things like that. So for the opposite to happen was just kind of insane and obviously a God thing. So I just took that as just one positive, just one more positive out of everything, and it was just amazing that I could now sing along somewhat confidently to songs that I loved, and so I just went to town from that moment. My dad bought me a karaoke machine, and I would just be on that thing every single day, every day. That's literal, for real. And, especially with my treatments, like my surgeries, I would have surgery and then as I'm getting better, once I can walk, I'm walking to that machine.
Yeah.
So, music became that big escape for me, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm really grateful that I was able to enjoy it in so many different ways.
Yeah. Well, how did you go from kind of basically singing through your pain and having that be part of your recovery to actually trying out for America's Got Talent? How'd that happen?
That was also a very interesting situation. So I'm an MBA student at a school in Texas, in Houston, and that's what I was doing, while this whole thing started. And it started in 2016, fall semester, and I was just going to school, working in school as well. And as usual, singing everywhere I go. At this point, I joined the worship team at church. So to me, that was the extent of what I was going to do with my voice. I was fine with that. And then I have this friend, one of my friends, who, anyone who knows me, if you're close enough to me, you will know I'm always singing. And she's just that person who's been there since I was in high school. And she knows, that it never ends with me. So she's always telling me, whenever we're on Skype or on FaceTime, she's like, you need to do something with your voice. Singing to me is not going to do anything. You need to you need to get out there. There's so many shows. If I were you, I would be and I'm just be like, yes, thank you, that's cool. So she knew I was never going to do it. She just knew. So she kind of signed me up without telling me. It's crazy because I was woken up by a phone call from an AGT scout who said she saw my application and they were interested in moving further with me, and I was like, what, and then I saw an email that was forwarded to me from them responding to my application, and it was forwarded from my friend's email. So I called her and I was like, what did you do, and that's pretty much how it started. She was shocked that they actually responded too, and but she put me out there. She basically just shoved me right out there, and at a point, it became, my choice to decide what I wanted to do with this opportunity. But it was just so odd and so out of the way that I just felt like, something that I didn't even do myself is, clearly God is trying to do something here. So, I'm just gonna run with it and see what happens with it. And that was basically how the whole thing happened.
Wow. Wow. So your friend signs you up on a whim, and you go on to perform 6 times, become a finalist, national, international scene. That is unbelievable. What was the most fun that you had on America's Got Talent? What's the most exciting thing you did?
I think nothing can beat that first moment I stepped out on that stage. I didn't really prepare myself for. I kind of think that, for the most part, I'm a pretty, confident person. I go around just, living life normally, so I just thought it would be the same, So when I stepped out on the stage, it hit me that, oh my God, I'm here, I'm in this place, and there's like thousands of people right in front of me who have never heard me sing, do not know what they think about my voice, because it's different when you're singing in front of your family and in church, everyone's kind of forgiving, but so it hit me unfortunately in that moment, so I kind of froze a little at first, and my voice came out all squeaky and stuff, and I was just like, oh God, but the moment I started singing and people started cheering and stuff, it kind of calmed me down, and I sang and I finished the song, and then the reaction from the judges, like just seeing that they actually were impressed, and nothing beats the feeling of when I heard that I got 4 yeses. That was just incredible to me, because I was still trying to get used to the feeling of actually just being here in the first place, and then now they're telling me I can actually go on to the next stage. Like, it just seems so surreal, and I was just very overcome with so much emotion in that moment. It was amazing. Which is an amazing feeling. But also another wonderful thing about the show was the kind of people that I had as fellow contestants. Because we were just all such a chill group. It never really felt like a competition up until the moment that you're on stage actually singing or doing your acts. Everyone was just so relaxed, and we had so much fun backstage. Whenever the cameras are, whether they're rolling or not, we're just like chilling with each other and just cracking jokes all over the place, and just having fun. I mean, I think I was blessed to be amongst a group of people that, I could feel comfortable in front of, like, so soon.
Yeah.
So, I really like the atmosphere as well.
Yeah. Do you get nervous when you're on stage when you sing?
All the time.
Yeah.
Every time.
Something else I've been wondering about with all of this. You've had to travel a lot. So with America's Got Talent, with just other things you've done since then, you're flying all over the place.
Yeah.
How, after what you've been through, do you get back on a plane?
The plane thing is kind of like, I always liken it to, like, getting back in a pool after you almost drown, because if you don't do it right after, you're just never going to get in the pool again. It was kind of like that for me, except, it was kind of decided for me. Right after my treatment in South Africa, I had to fly back to Nigeria. And then that's where I was before I flew here to America for continued treatment. So it just seemed like this flying thing was something that you can never really get out of. It's just you can't escape it if you want to get to places. And for me, it went a little beyond that, because it was like, if I want to do the things that I say I want to do, like, I want to live my life in such a way that would, make, the memory, just live in a way that would make their memories, proud, and make their parents proud of, the things that I'm doing with my life. I can't sit at home. I can't only go to places I can drive to. I have to be willing to, go around and, just, achieve all these things if possible. And I don't want to limit the things that, Jesus can do for me. I don't want to limit him to only these places that I can get to by car, So it was kind of like okay, if you can't avoid it, then just go ahead and just, keep doing what you do, I mean, and also, I kind of feel like the chances of me being in another plane accident is probably a little low now. I just really doubt that's going to happen again. So that actually also gives me a lot of confidence in getting on planes, because I just feel like the probability is kind of shifted a little more right now to my side. So all those things kind of just came together and just made it just another way to get around, really. Yeah. Although I will admit that there is like a moment, like a few seconds right before the wheels like touch down on the ground on the runway. That little, like, those few seconds in that, like, just kind of make me tense up a little. Can't do anything about it. Haven't been able to the last 11 years. So it's probably like a response to something I can't remember. Yeah. Which is fine. I'm not trying to remember any of that. But that's probably something I'm going to have to deal with forever. And
Yeah.
you know, I think it's fine. It's one little, like, just a few seconds, and then it's okay. It's an okay sacrifice to make. If I can go all the way to like South Korea or something, that's fine. Yeah.
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 Yeah. What are you up to these days? What's kind of your current life right now?
So I'm still getting my MBA. That's something that has slowed down a bit because of the traveling, but online classes help me a lot, so I can do it in my free time. That's something I definitely want to finish and accomplish. I'm also now doing a lot of just, I guess, kind of being like almost a Burns ambassador for a lot of different burn communities and organizations, which is a really wonderful, fallout, I guess, from AGT and the exposure that that stage gave me. I'm also working on original music. As a matter of fact, I actually just finished recording like a song that I'm gonna be promoting really soon. So I'm really excited about that because, AGT kind of made me think about the possibility of, a career in music. That's something I never would have considered if not for the show. So I want to see how people respond to, my sound, and hopefully, that's going to happen pretty soon, actually. So
Yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
Oh, we'll look out for it. That's exciting. That's really cool. In one of your final performances on America's Got Talent, you got to sing with Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool. And you sang her song, "What Doesn't Kill You Makes You Stronger." And I think when Kelly sings it, she's talking about a bad breakup.
That's true.
It's a little different when you sing it. Tell me how your experience has made you stronger.
Man, like everything from the accident to, coming here, continuing surgery, going back to school, America's Got Talent, all these different things. I believe that, as long as, so throughout my life, throughout all these things that happened, I have always tried my best to always include Jesus in everything that I do. I don't want to take a step without him knowing that I'm taking that step. It doesn't mean that I'm going to hesitate. If I want to do something, I'm going to do it. But if he's coming along with me, then, he can kind of help me navigate in the way that he wants me to, which usually ends up being much better than what we plan for ourselves. So because I've seen that usually when he's involved, things are better. I try to involve him as much as I can in every step that I take. And I feel like, even though there's like some small isolated moments where I feel like he's not even like aware of what's happening, like, can you not see that I'm in pain or I'm going through this? It always turns out in retrospect that he was there. He was aware. He's always aware. And so because of those experiences, I want to believe that I have been taking steps with him aware of everything, including, especially, in fact, America's Got Talent, because that was something that I did not even do. He moved a friend to do that for me for his own bigger purpose. It wasn't just about me singing on this stage and sharing my voice. It was also about what seeing a burn survivor on stage represented. It was also about, the message he wants to share with the world about, not being limited by your physical, capabilities, however limited they might be. And I feel like that's something that has helped my faith grow exponentially, for sure. Just help me always, kind of know that he's there and be aware that, Jesus is always he's always going to care, even though, people in the world might not. So my faith is a big factor in what keeps me optimistic and, I guess, resilience, in the things that happen. But I would not even have that if not for my support system.
Yeah.
I mean, my mom is just an amazing woman and literally gave everything up just to be with me and help me get through all this. My entire family, my sister, my dad, my mom's, her side of the family, my dad's side of the family, different people just came together to help me become the person I am today and help me believe the things that I believe, So I really credit everything to them, to that support system, and to my faith. And, they kind of bounce off each other, really. Yeah, so, you are the people that you surround yourself with at the end of the day. And, family is not always blood. It can be any person who makes you feel at home. It doesn't have to be someone you're related to. So I feel like if we all have at least one person like that in our lives, then we're probably going to be okay.
Yeah, yeah. There may be some of you here who are thinking, I wish I had that kind of support system. Maybe you're going through something really hard. That's one of the things that we like to be for each other here at Christ Community Church. We've got programs like Care Night and community groups and places where you can get connected with other people who are going to walk with you even in the hardest of times, to be that, whether it's family by blood, it can also be family by faith and within the community, and we love to be that for people. Well, here's what I want to do now. I want to bring out the band again, and I would love to hear one of the songs that you sang on America's Got Talent. Tell us about the song that you're going to sing.
I will sing Conqueror. Conqueror was the song I performed for my finale on America's Got Talent. And it's just a song that I chose along with the vocal coach because we wanted lyrics that were powerful, that had in them the ability to spread the message that I wanted to spread to people, which is that, you can overcome your obstacles, and then when you do, you are that much stronger. And I wanted people to feel that and know that that's what I believe, and help them believe that as well.
Yeah. You guys want to hear her sing? All right.
Don't ever give up. I'd rather stand tall than live on my knees, 'cause I am a conqueror, and I won't accept defeat. Try telling me no. One thing about me is I am a conqueror. I am a conqueror. Oh, I am a conqueror. I am a conqueror. Whoa, life is like a big merry-go-round.
Oh, thank you. A few years ago, you did a TEDx talk, and you said in that talk, "I don't think my scars define me." What would you say defines you?
I would say that I define myself the way God defines me. I define myself how Jesus defines me. I say that because, when you define yourself by anything earthly, anything in this world, then you give the world a chance to decide how you feel about yourself. When things of this world always change, they're always changing, even people, especially people. So if you define yourself by material things or by the way people see you or by how you look or anything, anything physical, anything in this world, there's a chance, you allow yourself that chance to be affected by those things. But, for someone like me, I feel like I could not afford to, be defined by anything here because I look so different from what is considered norm that if I define myself by anything here, there's a chance that, that could be taken away from me. So I wanted to define myself by something much bigger than me, someone that I know doesn't change, first of all, doesn't change how he sees us, to us, rather to Jesus, we are, perfectly made, wonderfully made, and it's not just about the outside, it's everything more on the inside. He has put eternal, internal virtues I believe, in each one of us that no one can take away except him. So if I define myself the way that Jesus defines me, then that means that nothing anyone does or says in this world is ever going to change how I feel about myself. So the only thing that can make me change how I see myself is if God all of a sudden changes how he sees us, and we all know that that's never going to change.
Yeah.
So, for me, that was what Jesus represented. He gave everything because he loves us so much. He's someone who gave up his very life because he feels like we are that precious to him. So, who better really to decide how I see myself, really. Yeah. So that's kind of how I decided to see things. And honestly, it's the primary reason I'm able to, hold my head high and just do the things that I want to do normally, despite how I look. It just it frees me, really. And nothing replaces that freedom that you have in Jesus. So I'm really grateful that I can think that way. Again, I credit my family.
Yeah, that's amazing. But this is the reason why we do what we do here at Christ Community Church. It's the reason we have these weekends like this, these Inspiring Stories weekends, is because we want people to know that source of identity and strength from God. Here's the thing. All of us, whether we haven't experienced the high highs and the deep lows of Kechi's life, every one of us has scars and successes, don't we? Every single one of us has those things that we suffer and those things that we feel like we've done a great job. And if we define our lives, if we say this is who I am based on those things, we're going to ride that roller coaster. It's going to be up and down again and again. So where do you find that solid ground, that place to stand where this is who I really am? The only place to do that, the way we were designed to find who we really are, is in a relationship with God. The problem is that each and every one of us, no matter who we are, from the very first people all the way down to you and me, what we've done is we've gone our own way. We've disconnected from the source of those things, of life and love and goodness. We have walked away from God. We've said, God, I'm going to do things my way instead of your way. I'm going to make a life the way I want to do it. And even if we don't say that directly to God, our actions show it again and again every single day when we say, no, I'm going to do these things just because I want to do them, not because they're the things that you want. The Bible has a word for that. The word for that is sin. And the consequences, the results of sin are tragic. Because when we go our way instead of God's way, we disconnect from the source of life. And what's the result? It's death. Spiritual death on the inside. It's the reason we are restless and hungry. Physical death. One day our lives will end, maybe sooner than we think. And if nothing's done about it, we die eternally, separated from God. And so we've got to figure out, what are we going to do about that disconnect? How does that get healed and put back together? And this is where the good news comes in. This is the hope that we have to share. God loves you far too much to leave you in that place where you're disconnected from him. And so that's why God himself showed up and lived a human life in the person of Jesus. He took on all of the pain and the suffering. He took on the scars of our sin so that he could take it away. This is what was going on the cross. Jesus was saying, I'm going to take all the guilt, all the shame, all the suffering, all the death, and I'm going to take it on me. So when Jesus was buried, he was taking that away. And when he rose again, what he was doing is saying, I have the offer of life and hope beyond the grave. This is really, really good news. And he offers it to all of us. The question is, will you receive it? The great news is that he doesn't say you've got to earn it, you got to pay for it, you got to work for it. He says it's absolutely free. All you have to do is surrender and say, I want it. And it's as simple as doing things that you already understand. Saying three things: I'm sorry, thank you, and please. You simply say to God, I'm sorry. I know that the things I do are wrong, that I go my way instead of your way, and that shouldn't be. I'm sorry, God. We say thank you. Say thank you so much for showing up and bearing my sin. Jesus, you went to the cross. That was for me. You rose from the dead. That is my only hope. Jesus, thank you for doing that. And please, God, forgive my sin. Please, God, come in and transform my life. Please, God, welcome me into your family. Give me a future and a hope beyond the grave. That's all it takes. I'm sorry, thank you, and please. There are many of you here who you're thinking that I need that. That this is what I need in my life. I need to surrender my life to Jesus and have that kind of hope. And so today, that's what I want to give you a chance to do. I'm going to pray that prayer in just a moment. I'm sorry, thank you, and please. And as I do that, I'd invite you to pray along with me in your heart, to say those things to God and surrender your life to him and receive what he has to offer. Will you do that with me now? Let's pray. God, we turn to you because you are our only hope. God, we start by saying, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for the things that I've done that are wrong. I know they are wrong, and I've walked away from you, and I shouldn't. God, please forgive me for these things. I'm so sorry for them. But God, thank you. Thank you that you showed up and you took on my sin. Jesus, you went to the cross for me. You took my guilt, my shame, all the things, the consequences of the things I've done, and you took them away. God, thank you for doing that. Jesus, thank you for rising from the dead. Thank you that you are alive and we have hope. Thank you that you offer eternal life even to me. And God, please forgive me. Please transform me. Please come into my life. Let me walk with you. God, please welcome me into your family. Please give me a hope of eternity with you. God, please save me. God, I thank you for every person here who has just prayed that prayer, who has surrendered their lives to you. God, thank you that from here on out, they are walking in a relationship with you, that you have come into your life, that you have answered that prayer. God, I pray that you would bless them, that this would not just be one step, it would be the beginning of a lifelong walk with you. God, I pray that you would draw them into a church community that would nourish them and grow them in their faith, that you would surround them with people that can point them again and again to you. God, I pray that you would teach them how to pray and how to get into your word, how to live a life walking with you. And God, I pray that you would fill them with hope, knowing that they belong to you and that you love them and your love will never fail. We pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen.